Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to show and tell number 137, I believe. So I realized as soon as I turned the camera on that I forgot to switch my glasses out. So these are my transition lenses, and I had a couple of you guys point out last time I wore these in a video, they reflected purple. Sorry. But I'm not running all the way upstairs to get my other pair of glasses. I just finally managed to make it down here after trying for about 6 hours now. I'm not going back upstairs to switch classes because this won't get filmed otherwise. So it's been a normal week here. It's just been very, very busy, and it's busy and burst. So trying to like work around what's going on has just been getting things accomplished. But that's life. That's normal. Banner's still doing great, still gaining weight, still getting longer, still getting bigger, still has not grown into his ears. I have some pictures and videos once again that I'll stick at the end of this, and y'all can see the gratuitous cuteness that has been around me recently. Pippin's doing great. He has taken to cleaning Banner and cleaning Banner a lot. So there's that. And then they spend a lot of time playing and chasing each other. Like Pippin will be in the tall perch and Banner will jump up there and just kind of like swat his tail and then fly off the perch. And then I hear this boom, 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 boom. And I think he's like broken his neck falling down the stairs. And then I hear him start running back and forth, waiting for Pippin to come chase him. So very hyper, very high energy. And both of them are doing this together. So there's that. Not many life check-in things to do here. It's been very quiet as far as like noteworthy things of the week. I hope you guys had a wonderful Valentine's Day. Mine was quiet once again. So I got some flowers and stuff, but my husband was on a business trip, so we didn't get to see each other on Monday. He left Sunday night. So we kind of did Valentine's brunch after church on Sunday. Meh. I'm having my once a month soda because I deserve it. I don't drink soda often, but when I do. So it's not been very productive for my basket this week, my basket of goodies. There's not really a whole lot to share. I haven't purchased anything. I did not make it by the post office before filming this. Unfortunately, that just did not pan out this week. But I did get some things done. We're reviving some old WIPs that are coming back out here, but I had scraps left over from where I did the Cozy Murder Mystery cowl blanket last year, the 2022 blanket, where I did have to purchase some variegated yarns to kind of fill in so I didn't have duplicates. So I did start taking some of those and turning them into 10 round granny squares with the 8 and 2 pattern, and just to add to the stack. I don't know when I'm going to start piecing these blankets together. I think at this point I have enough for like 1.5 blankets, but I'm just going to keep making 10 round grannies and see what happens. But this is a I don't know how much of that y'all are hearing. That is so weird. Oh, I bet you it's on the cul-de-sac. We have a neighbor who just had a bunch of trees taken out of their backyard, and they were regrading the yard, and I bet you that's what it is. It sounds like a bumper dragging down the road behind me, but I think it's actually coming from there. Anyway, I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. I don't know when I'm going to start putting blankets together. I'm just taking my leftovers and trying to not have them go back. And I have another one of these with the light blue border. I just don't want my leftovers and scraps to be going back into my stash, because these were yarns I was intentionally trying to work through last year and are still in my intention to try to work through this year. So I am going to go ahead and just keep making grannies out of the leftovers. When I get to the point that I can't store them in my bag anymore, I'm putting them in my big yarned and dangerous tote. I'll put them together, start putting them together, get some space in there. The only other thing I brought down with me today, though, are 2 pairs of socks. That literally is it. That's all. Well, I've worked on the corner to corner blanket in the last week, that the University of North Carolina colored one. I have worked on that some, and I had something else in a bag that I took with me somewhere, but really well, I'll show you what I mean here in a second. But so the first pair, this is I believe Premier Serenity sock yarn for the cuff and heel. And it's a Mary Maxim. Why is that being weird? It's a Mary Maxim sock yarn for the base yarn. It took me a lot longer to get on the sock blocker than it should have. So this is the Premier Serenity sock, and then this is the Mary Maxim, and they don't match. Where's the other? Oh, the other sock's right there. It doesn't go far because I'm doing them 2 at a time. They don't match perfectly, which is perfectly fine by me. For these, the main color palette is the same. That's all I really cared about. But the last time I had done any type of check-in on these, I was way up here. So the fact that I got the entire top part done, turned the heel, and have now brought in the pink again, I'm happy with that. I mean, that's significant progress on these. And this is a fingering weight sock yarn, and I think I'm using my... These are 1.25. I still need to fix that light bulb, so I better light over here. This is a US size 1, 2.25 millimeter. So, very happy with these. I like the fit on these so far. I once again shadow wrap heel. This time I did start over the top here. Did 2 rows of the black, then did the heel, and then did 2 more rows of the black. So 5 rows of black on the top, and then the heel is just a single section. But that gave me a clean transition without having to cut the pink yarn and move it, and without using my fudget method, which I have done on a couple pairs of socks. Up next, this is a DK weight pair of socks, and I don't remember the brand. I did get this from WIPs last year at the same time that I got the Regia that I used last year. Like, that really helps. And once again, this is the shadow wrap heel. I haven't made quite as much progress coming around the foot on these. I love how these look. I kind of wish I had some more of this yarn because I really, really, really love it. I really love the colors in this. I had thought about doing a solid heel and then just love the yarn too much to do that. Until I can put tension on the toe, the heel looks baggy, but it's not. It actually fits really, really well. Love it, love it, love it. And this is being done on... Where is the writing on my needle? These are US 1.5, 2.5 millimeters. So I didn't really go up much for these at all. I do wish maybe I'd gone ahead and done a 1 even with the DK weight sock, but yeesh, fine. These will just be socks that I don't go barefoot or shoeless with. It's a slightly looser weave than I would prefer because it's not quite as DK as you would think of DK, and it's not quite down to fingering either. So it's kind of more between. I would say back in the day, this was a heavy sock. But I had this bag from Benefit that came with an Ulta order. And this is the perfect bag for socks. As much as I love my mini maker bag, and if I'm doing like multicolors, that's what I do tend to use. But for these just like basic 2 at a time socks, this is literally like the perfect bag. If y'all happen to remember, because I think I shared the order on here, where I got this Regia Digital Future color. That's where I got that pink yarn from. But really enjoying it, having fun. Like I said in my last week show and tell, where I got the Christmas Mary Maxim sock yarn, I really like their sock yarn. It's very, very toothy. It's not very smooth at all, but it holds up really, really well. There was something that I wanted to talk to you guys about that pertains to knitting. So if you're not interested in that, just kind of like hover over the bar and find the cat pictures. Cat pictures and cat videos. But I've debated on trying to do a video on these, and I don't want to test this out anymore. But I tried the Knitter's Pride Mindful Needles, and I did make socks with them. I got a 40-inch cable, size 1 needle, and that's what I did my Advent socks on this year. And one of the questions you guys always have is like, what needles do I love and why? I'm gonna say I didn't love these. Now, I'm gonna be honest, when it comes down to getting to that 2.25 millimeter size, there are very few needles I really like. So, I mean, there are expensive brands like the Likey that I just cannot stand. I don't like them in general. Those aren't my go-to needles in general, but I cannot stand trying to make socks in their needles. I don't like the join of the cable to the needle. And that's what a lot of it comes down to for me, is how that join feels when I'm moving yarn. And on a needle that small, and this is perfect because I was just showing you socks, on a needle this small, like, it's just really hard to get a well-made needle where things glide like if you were using a size 8 needle. I've told you guys before, my favorite knitting needle, circular knitting needle, really is the ChiaoGoo needles. They are exceptionally smooth. The join, you can see there is a difference between the cable and the needle, but they've tapered the needle so much that even with this grabby yarn, I can pull my needle up without even working it into the stitches. It just immediately feeds itself through the stitches on my project. And yeah, I can't speak to their wood needles. I do know people who prefer wood to stainless. They like the wood needles too, but I'm going to be honest, you know, when you get up to like a size 3 or 4, that stops becoming a problem for a little while. And then you have your next jump at about a US size 10. So I did not like the Mindful needles as a sock needle. Now that's not saying they're not excellent needles. I love Knitter's Pride needles. I don't love the cable for the interchangeable set, but the Knit Picks cable works with them. I've mentioned that before as well. I don't like the cable because it's too stiff. Now with the Mindful, it is a softer cable. It's really, really nice. I will say the cable was nice. If I were making a hat, I would have zero issue working a hat on that cable. But using the size needle that I did, I had a lot of issues. When I got to these, the reason why I've been working on the socks so much, and I forgot to show you where the last time I shared the DK weight ones. The reason why I have just been dying to work on these the last week is once I got done casting off those Advent socks, I picked these up just because they were sitting there and I was editing a video. So I started, that was the last time y'all saw it, was up here. And then I did the heel and the turn. I picked these up specifically and wanted to see how much I had left to do. I did these at 3.5 to 4 inches. I didn't keep my ruler at hand, so it's between 3.5 and 4 inches, which is my preferred height on a sock. Just started knitting and was reminded at how much I love knitting socks on Chalco needles. I am very, 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 very spoiled when it comes to the needles I use. And in particularly for doing socks, I'm very particular now about what I use. I do even have the sock set DPNs from Chalco just because they glide through, you know, the more rustic feeling yarns, and they have just enough stick to them for me. But if I'm doing something like a bamboo or a project that has a lot of nylon in it, nylon slips very easily. I don't like the feeling of wood even with nylon for me. And this is an unusual thing. I don't like it because it grips in the wrong way. It slows me down too much. So I still prefer my stainless even with that, unless it's a super, super smooth wood needle. But yeah, this isn't really a review of the needle line, but if you're looking to make 2 at a time socks, I would recommend spending some time at your LYS or whoever near you sells Knitter's Pride and really feel the join between the cable and the needle to see if you think you're going to have a problem with snagging there, because I was getting very frustrated with the Advent socks because they were taking me forever. I would have to like stop, scrunch all my stitches for that half of a sock up, and then start knitting, stop, scrunch everything back onto the needle, and start knitting again. And it made the process take a lot longer than it should have. And I was very frustrated by the end of the process. But I think because of previous experience with Knitter's Pride needles, I really do genuinely think it's because the needle size is so small and the cable can only be so small. And I don't think the taper on the back side of the needle is quite what you need for something like socks, especially if you're doing 2 at a time socks. So this is why this isn't going into its own video as a review, because I don't think I can fairly review the needles. I have a Zing interchangeable set. I love them, but that interchangeable set starts at a size 4 and ends at a 10.5. And there's a reason why, because you just can't get a nice smooth join under a 4. And I think on an interchangeable set like that, a generic interchangeable needle set, I love my Knitter's Pride Zings. I use them a lot. I've used them in the tutorial for the triangle shawl. They're a nice quality needle. Same thing with Knit Picks. I love the quality of the Knit Picks needles. They really are good. But when you get down to that under 4 size, under a US 4, I'm a lot more picky. And I'm looking for a nice, like I showed you, you can just pull that needle. It's not so loose that if you set it down, your needle's going to come out of your work. But when you're trying to move your stitches onto the needle, it just glides. It just moves on easily and effortlessly. So I'm going to be honest, for what I got the needle for, I really didn't like it. And I've been wanting to discuss this for a while now and debating on doing a dedicated video versus not on this. But I just don't think I can give it a fair review for its own video. Now, if I decide to go get a size 8, 16-inch and make a hat with it and I still feel the same, I will come back and make a video about that. But as far as using them for 2 at a time socks, I would go with something else. I would just go with something else for that purpose. I did not like the Mindful for socks. So and once again, this isn't a slam on Knitter's Pride. This isn't, you know, saying their needles are bad, because they really aren't. They really are good needles. Just not for socks. In this case, not doing 2 at a time socks. I can't speak to fingering weight, you know, a 16-inch size 1 if you were making a hat. That might be fine, but not for socks, not 2 at a time socks. It was very, very frustrating using that needle. But like I said, if I decide to buy a much larger size, a more average size needle, and find that it works perfectly, you know, it might be one of those, if you're looking for a needle between a 4 and a 10.5, this is your needle. If you're looking for something smaller, though, that was my experience, at least. So, as always, if you guys have questions, leave them in the comments down below. I am a few videos behind and responding to comments. Like I said, it's the extended time to do anything. I think I answered all the questions in the last 2 videos that I had been asked directly, but I could be wrong. Bear with me. I'll I promise I will get back with you guys. I love you as always. If it's something urgent, please feel free to shoot me an email or a message on Instagram, and I will try to respond back just as soon as possible. Take care, and I will see you again real soon. Bye, guys.
Pippin, I think the baby's keen. Took it to poor baby's head. I think you got him. Pippin. He's gonna get moldy.